In episode 171 of the 40 Plus Fitness podcast, we're going to walk off the weight with Lucy Wyndham-Read. The show notes for this episode can be found at 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/171. Have you decided you're ready to make a change? To reclaim your health and fitness? The 40 Plus Fitness podcast is here for you. I'm your host, Alan Meisner. I'm an NSAM certified personal trainer with a specialization in corrective exercise and fitness nutrition. Let me be your coach as you find your way on your health and fitness journey. All right, let's go. Hear that creak? No, it isn't your knees, it's the door. The door is closing on the 30-day squat challenge. I'm closing it a couple days early so we can get ready and do something epic during the month of November. Go to 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/squat to sign up today. There are 3 levels, beginner, intermediate, advanced, something for everyone. 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/squat. Lucy Wyndham-Read is a fitness trainer with several great books, but her book Walk Off the Weight caught my eye. Join me as we talk through her 21-day Walk Off the Weight program. So Lucy, welcome to 40 Plus Fitness.
Hi.
I'm really excited to have you here. Predominantly because for most folks that have never really done anything athletic or done any exercise, the prospect of doing something like going to the gym or, getting into a pretty hard program, they see these things on TV like the P90X and the Insanities and even some of the ones that seem a little bit more tame to someone who's never done exercise can be quite intimidating. So I like the fact that your book on walking, Walk Off the Weight, is approachable from just about anybody. I mean, there's very few people that won't be able to use your book to their benefit.
Absolutely. And I think you are so right there. People can be so put off by all these infomercials and gyms. They can be the most intimidating place. And you know what? To be honest, one of the most simplest and most effective ways to get into shape, to lose weight, to get healthy and fit is simply to walk. It's something we were all designed to do. And that's where what I really love about walking, why I've been such a big fan of it for many years, is it is the perfect exercise for that complete beginner, someone who's perhaps never exercised, perhaps if they've had an injury, or perhaps if they're extremely overweight. Walking is one of the quickest ways to see results. And it's something, let's be honest, we can do it absolutely anywhere. Wherever we are, we can just walk out the front door and there is a walk ahead of us.
On the cover, you're wearing, I think you call these, we would call it a sweater, but I think you call them jumpers. You're wearing a pretty nice jumper there. You do call them jumpers, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And so, but you don't have to have that. I mean, literally some comfortable shoes so you don't get blisters, but beyond the comfortable shoes, you're pretty much set.
Absolutely. And that's the great thing. You're not having to go out and spend a fortune. It's what I sort of say, and actually I address it in the book, is you don't need to go and buy like a whole load of sports kit. As long as you've got something comfortable that you can walk in. And actually what I do have on the front of the cover of the book is a bright pink top. Because one thing I would say, if people are heading outdoors walking, it's always good to wear like a really bright color. But, as you said, it's just a comfortable pair of like walking shoes, trainers. They don't even have to be expensive. And other than that, it's just comfortable clothes, so it's, that's why walking wins, definitely.
Yes. And I think the other side of it is, in anyone that you talk to that's kind of looked at our ancestors, we used to walk a lot more than we do now. So getting into the habit of walking is a very natural state for our bodies to continue that movement. Because we were basically migratory until we got into agriculture. So we would have been walking quite a bit of each day, just as part of being human. And that we've kind of lost that because we have automobiles and desk jobs and things like that. So it's always good to get out, plus just getting out in nature.
I think it's frightening how much we've kind of progressed with technology, but technology is stealing from us what we can do as humans. Everything. I couldn't believe it. I even went through, there was a drive-through Costa Coffee the other day. It's like, I love my coffee, don't get me wrong, but I was just like, there is no way I'm going to drive to it and sit in my car and order it. I'm going to walk down to a coffee place and go and get a coffee. The problem is with everything now, the more sedentary we are, the less calories we burn, the less energy we have, the more likely we are to get overweight, to become ill with disease. It's, it's kind of, it's great we're moving forwards with technology, but we're moving backwards massively with our health.
Yes. And so I wanted to kind of get into some of the direct benefits of walking. I'm sure everyone knows those, but let's just kind of go back and rebase ourselves. What are some of the benefits of walking?
Some of the benefits, funny enough, walking is the second most calorific burning exercise there is. And that's if you're walking at a good power pace. Like, that doesn't mean that really funny pace where they walk like they look like ducks. So it's not really, really fast walking. But like when I say power walking, just walking with like real effort is so calorie burning. And the reason being, it's very similar to the movement cross country skiing, because what you do is when you walk with a really good long stride, you actually engage near enough every single muscle group in your body, and you're taking a full range of movement through like the hip joint and even through the arm joint, more so than you would if you were running. So that's where it's fantastic. One of the major benefits of walking, it is really good for weight loss. It's a low impact. It's good at helping you kind of realign your body. It's good with your posture. It also promotes the HGH hormone, which is a human growth hormone, which starts to decline actually in our 30s. And hence, once that starts to decline, that's when we start to show the signs of aging. And the only way we can reproduce that hormone naturally again is actually by exercising. So for me, that sells it. I like, for me, kind of feeling good and looking good is really important. So I always think of it, if it's like raining in the UK, which trust me, it is all the time. I like look at it and think, well, actually, if I go out for a walk now, that's like having a facial. That's like having a beauty treatment. It's really good for my skin. Obviously, it's great for things like helps to lower cholesterol because you're increasing your circulation. So it's really good because that helps clear through the arteries. The one thing with exercise is there are never any negative side effects. And you don't have to do it for long. I mean, that's the great thing. You can literally just get up and think, I'm just going to walk around the block, 5 minutes, and you've just invested massively into your health.
Yeah, I think short of not watching where you're going and maybe stepping into a hole, twisting your ankle, or getting hit by a bicycle or a car, walking is there's no real way for you to injure yourself unless it's just kind of one of those odd things. But the exercise itself is extremely safe as long as you're doing it in a responsible way. And then I want to take just one step back. When you were talking about exertion, I think it's important for us to recognize what you're talking about there, because there are the casual walks, like you're walking into your kitchen to go get something out of the refrigerator. That's the one walk. There's the walk when you have to make it to the restroom really quickly, so you're kind of walking through your house a little bit quicker to get there. And then the walk you're talking about, the way I kind of equate it is you're slightly late for your train or an airplane, and you're trying to get there with good pace. And so it's really, you're not running, but you're just right there on that verge of, if you want to go just a little faster, you're almost running. And then, like you said, there's the kind of the unusual form of the folks that do the race walking, which is the equivalent of running, but it's just and I can't imagine that they have healthy hips when they get older, but but it really is just having that immediacy about the walk and not looking at it as just a casual thing. You really do have to make sure that you're keeping it. And so from a general exertion level, the way I would explain it to a client would be in a 1 to 10, with 1 being the easiest and 10 being the hardest. I would say you're probably somewhere around that 6 or 7.
Absolutely. You've got it spot on completely. And I totally agree. And another quite a good way of doing that, I love your one actually, of running late for a plane, because I've just come back from France and I was on the way out, and on the way coming back, I was late for the plane. And so I was power walking.
Yeah.
How funny. But a really good way that I often say as well is, if you're walking with a friend, if you're walking at a pace that you can hold a comfortable conversation like you and I both are now, that's way too easy. You need to be able to be walking at a pace where you could just quickly answer like a yes or a no, but that's it. But actually, I think the airplane one, late for the plane, is the best way of remembering it.
Yeah, just keep walking. The plane's there, but you got to hurry and get there. Now, a couple of things that I really adore about this book is that you want people to effectively take measurements rather than depend on weight. Could you take a minute to talk about kind of the taking of measurements, then generally what they can expect out of a program like this, with this walking program, and then kind of front into this of what they have to do to really be effective at it?
Yeah, I think nowadays people can become so obsessed with standing on the weighing scales. And the problem is, what the weighing scales, they don't break it down into body fat, muscle tissue, water retention. So all we see is just that one final number. And actually, if you're exercising the safe way, if you're combining a little bit of toning with cardiovascular, if you're, so cardiovascular, I refer to the walking, if you're changing your diet, if you're doing kind of a little bit of toning exercises like I do in the book, what you can expect to happen there is that we are specifically just melting off body fat, but at the same time, we're increasing active muscle tissue. And so what happens there is actually active muscle tissue, even though, like, if you say a pound of fat and a pound of muscle tissue, they still both weigh the same because they're a pound, but they are very different in their density. And what happens is a lot of people can stand on the weighing scales. They could go on a crash diet. And what happens there is they lose water retention. They keep body fat. So they're not losing shape. But what happens is their body starts to eat away at muscle tissue. So in effect, their body hasn't actually changed shape, but when they stand on the weighing scale.
Yeah, when you step on the scale, I've kind of said it this way to someone, and they don't like me saying this, and so they get a little frustrated with me when I put it this way. I'm like, but if you just want to lose 20 pounds right now, you don't care how you lose it, then just cut off part of one of your legs.
Yeah. Do you know what? So the inches to me is, a tape measure is just absolutely the best thing, because, what will happen if you're losing weight and burning off body fat, your body will become smaller. Hence, we're losing the volume, losing the body fat. And, the best way to do it is literally what I say to a lot of my clients is just to get a tape measure and just measure around the narrowest part of their waist, and then also to just measure around their hips, around the widest part of their hips. And those two measurements, if you do those every week, if you're sticking to doing walking, healthy eating and doing exercise, you can expect to really kind of lose a couple of inches in about 2 or 3 weeks.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, kind of not to keep pushing on this, but, I often ask clients, I say, okay, would you rather lose 20 pounds and be the same dress size, or lose 2 dress sizes and be the same weight? And at that point, it kind of clicks in their head. It's like, well, I want to get smaller. I don't actually want to lose weight. I just want to get smaller. So again, that's why I really like the measurement criteria here. So, obviously going through a program like this, they're going to lose a couple of inches if they're eating right and they're taking care of themselves and doing the walking program that you have in the book. But it starts with a commitment. And you even put this in the book, that it's very important to have that commitment. The way you kind of stated is the commitment needs to be for at least the first 7 days. So let's get started, because then you'll have momentum and things will start working out for you. My approach to with my clients in dealing with commitment is that I think they should do 2 things. One is sit down and figure out why they actually want to get healthier. Why do they want to lose this weight? Why do they want to feel better? And really kind of break it down to what is that why? And it might be a grandchild that's just come into the world. It might be that the doctor told them that, they were going to lose a limb if they didn't start taking care of themselves. There's a lot of different reasons why someone would want to do this, but get that why out there first. And then the second is kind of have a vision of what a healthier and fitter you looks like down the line. So you kind of put those two together, and that's basically your commitment, because you really have an emotional why attached to it. And then you basically have a vision of what that looks like, so you know what you're committing to. It's kind of like when we go through a vow when we're getting married, our why is the love we have for that individual. And our vision of it is, kind of how we view our whole future together. And so that's how I typically approach it with my clients, is to say, let's get that why and vision together. But again, with your commitment here, you're literally just saying, let's get started. 7 days will give you enough of this to where you're going to get comfortable that it's working, and that's going to give you that kind of that momentum to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what you've said there is so true. You've got to, we forget how, well, you and I don't because we work in this industry, but the mind is the most powerful thing because that's what motivates you then to put on your trainers, go out and do the walk or to eat make healthier nutrition choices. But, I think people don't realize how quickly you can start to feel good from exercising. And, like within 7 days of doing something, you will just feel incredible. And then the key thing is, and why I wanted to do this book and do it for 21 days, is that I knew 21 days it's achievable. Anyone can look at it and think, okay, 21 days, it's not actually that long. You can see the end very, very quickly. But it's enough of a time as well to get amazing results. And it's also enough of a time to kind of set it into a little bit of a habit. Because really what this is, it's not that we just want someone to get fit for 3 weeks and then stop. The point is, this is about an ongoing journey. This is something that we should be doing every day for the rest of our lives. My dad is one of the fittest men I've ever met. He's in his 75 now, looks 55. And every single day of his life, he has walked. And will always continue to do that. And I think this is what it is. It's just saying to people, if we want to feel our fittest and best, we have to be exercising. But there are a million different ways to exercise. And the thing is to find something that you enjoy. And the reality is most of us can walk and actually enjoy walking, which is why it's such a popular choice and why it's also such a popular choice for, I think, 40 and beyond. Like I'm middle 40s now, but I probably feel fitter, healthier and happier than I did in my 20s.
Yeah. And I think you hit on something really, really important there is that this walking, while what you're doing is programming some walking, I think what's going to happen is after that 21 days, they're going to realize that they really don't have a difficulty walking a mile, whereas before they may not have believed that they could, but now they know, quite frankly, that they can because they've done it. So, the walk to the market that's, half a mile away doesn't seem so imposing. If they just need to pick up 1 or 2 things and they have the time for it, then walk to the market, use that same pace. You'll get there maybe as quickly, if there's a lot of traffic in your area and traffic lights, you may actually get there faster walking it, walk to the market and walk back. And now you've got the bag of groceries and you can do curls and whatever you want with those bags. But there's I think once you get into it, then that opportunity's there. So you give us some tips for motivation in the book. Would you mind going over some of your tips for motivation?
Yeah, I think for me, motivation, I've got loads of tips because I think motivation is the key thing. Once you've got the motivation, the rest follows. So some of the tips that I say, I'm not sure if I've got them in this book, but one of the really good tips is, work out your training gear that you're going to work out in. Even it doesn't have to be expensive. Like as we said, it could just be stuff in your wardrobe, but have it on a couple of hangers. So you've got 2 or 3 outfits. So it's just ready. It's there to go. I think that's quite a good thing. So if we've got that kind of thing, I'll go for a walk and then thinking, yeah, but I don't know what I'm going to wear. Just have everything so you can literally just grab it. The other thing that I think is really good, like for example, you could download one of your shows and listen to it when you go out walking. You can either listen to music. Obviously, just you have to be careful that you can still hear everything around you so you're aware of your surroundings. But listening to ebooks, listening to audiobooks, or learning a language while you're walking. Another thing that I think is a really good one to do is just really write down, as you said, write down all the things that you want to be feeling through being fitter, that you are then able to go and perhaps buy that dress in one size smaller, or that you're going to be able to take your grandchildren on a long walk and a picnic. Write down those goals that you want and just really visualize them like every time.
And I would say go buy the dress and have it in your room, and then you've got, what it is, and that'll give you even that much more reason, because it would have been sad for you to have spent that money on a dress and not make that size.
Absolutely. And just, I think the biggest thing of all is just say to yourself, you're going to do it no matter what. Just determination, that is what it is. It's just no excuse. Determination. Give yourself, because you deserve it, give yourself 21 days of treating your body to fitness. Spoil yourself and exercise. And there is nothing that will make you feel better than living in a fit, healthy, strong body. We don't have to live in a young body, but we can all, at any age, live in a healthy, fit body, because we can choose to do that. We can choose to not do it and live in a body where we feel tired, unenergized, unmotivated, but we can simply, by our actions, we can turn that around.
Yeah. And I think, a lot of people don't recognize this straight away, but when you actually start doing an exercise program, particularly a walking program, you actually end up with more residual energy than you would have had, resting on the couch. You get the blood flowing and it really kind of gets your endorphins going and things just start working for you. You just have more energy all day.
And I think, you're so right there. And I think if people haven't ever exercised, and there are a lot of people that have grown up that haven't ever experienced that, would think, how on earth can that be true? But it is the only way our body generates energy is through energy. It's like we have to, the more energetic someone is, the more hyperactive, the more energy they have, the more sedentary someone is, the more, and it's like, and that's where you just have to have that grit, that determination, because once you get over that barrier, you'll never turn back. You'll always want to be doing fitness. And I sort of have this with clients. When I take on clients, after training them for like 3 weeks, I then say to them, right, okay, now I'm going to tell you, I want you to do no exercise, go back to your eating habits, just give up everything you've done. And how would you feel about that? And they're like, oh, I'd hate it. I could never go back to feeling like that. And that's when you think, yeah, great, I've done my job as a trainer. I've shown them how amazing they can feel, and now they're stick at it.
Yeah, and all you really have to do is keep a journal of how you feel each day when you wake up, through the day, your energy levels, and then at the end of the 21 days, go back and flip through that journal and see the words you were using in the first couple days and before you started even, and now the language you're using here at the end. And I think we'll see a marked difference in the way that they kind of view things. So, again, I really appreciate the book. It's really cool because you've basically laid it out for folks, a 21-day plan that includes food and other slight exercises to kind of complement the walking. And I haven't had a chance to try any of the recipes because I've been traveling a good bit, but they look delicious. So I'm going to have to try at least one of your recipes in there to see how it goes for me. But it really all does look very, very good.
Thank you. Well, I loved putting it all together, and I thought it's just, people like to have a plan. So instead of just saying, do these exercises, it's like, I want to take their hand throughout this book and say, right, today you're doing this and you're eating that. Then tomorrow we're doing this exercise and that's what you're eating. So it's a real simple guide to follow. And
again, for the individual that wants kind of that hand holding to go, 1, 2, 3, for 21 days, this is it. This is a really good program, and anybody can do this. It's not like you're having them go out the first day and, boot camp 10 miles. It is a gradual progression, and it all kind of works together to give them some benefits that they can visually see and physically feel within the 21 days. So again, thank you so much for sharing this book with us.
Oh, well, and thank you so much for your time for doing the interview. I really appreciate it.
Now, if someone wanted to get in touch with you, where would you have me send them?
So I have a website, which is lwrfitness.com. And then I'm also on YouTube and Instagram. I'm a bit of a social media. I do it all, Twitter, blah, blah, blah. I'm on all of them, but they can find it through my website. All the links to my social media are on there.
And I'm going to say that the YouTube channel is awesome. You really need to check that out. It is exceptional.
It's quite cracky. I post up fitness videos every single day, and I have done for 6 months now. So I'm utterly exhausted. That's why it's a good job I exercise, because at least I have energy.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, this is episode number 171. So you can find those show notes at 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/171. So again, Lucy, thank you so much for being on 40 Plus Fitness.
Thank you for having me.
I wanted to take a minute to thank you. When that bumper plays, a little bit of music at the end of the episode, I know most folks just go. You're still here because you want more interviews and information, but really, you want more for yourself, and that's where the magic is. Please email me at alan@foreverfitness, and let me know what's going on, what you're struggling with. I'm doing this to help you, so I want to reach out and let's connect, because I really do want to know what's going on with you, and if there's anything else I can do, an episode I can record, a guest I can look for, I want to make sure that I'm really doing this for you and that you know how much I really care about giving you the best possible content. So give me an email. Let me know what's going on with you. I really would appreciate it. And again, I do really appreciate you sticking through to the end with me, because I know a lot of people just go ahead and log off right after they get to that end of that episode bumper. Next time on the 40 Plus Fitness podcast, we meet Heather Wolf. Heather is a bird watcher. What does birding and health and fitness have in common? Quite a lot, actually. Join us next time to see how the hobby of birding can make you healthier and more fit. Until then, have a happy and healthy day.